Hello again. I'm Steve Jones, a member of the current Barron County Democratic Party Executive Committee and its current secretary. I'm also on the State Party Reorganization Committee and the Process and Systems Subcommittee of that group. I'd like to take a few minutes to talk to you about the current progress of the 2021 Kentucky Democratic Party reorganization. The precinct convention has wrapped up, and Barron County now has its new precinct committees and precinct committee chairs. We didn't have as good a participation and turnout as I had hoped. Barron County has 25 precincts and the possibility of 75 total precinct committee members. Out of the 25 precincts, only 9 precincts nominated Democrats to a committee. That means 16 precincts, or 56%, didn't participate at all in the process. So instead of a possible 75 participants serving on precinct committees for the next step, the county convention, we only have 11 people, or only 15% of the possible number of participants. So why is this important? Because the next step in the process is the county convention, where the new Barron County Executive Committee will be elected for the next 4 years. And it is only these 11 people that can nominate people to the Executive Committee and vote in the election of the people for the Executive Committee. That said, I want to thank those that did participate and let you all know who they are. So if you're interested in being nominated to the Executive Committee, then these are the people you need to contact. These are all the precincts. Glasgow number 1, A101, Chair John Rogers, Committee Member LaDonna Rogers. Glasgow number 2, A102, Chair Chrissy Fields, no other committee members. Glasgow number 3, A103, Chair Alexandria Hayes, no other committee members. Fox Hollow, A104, Chair Steve Jones, Committee Member Sherry Jones. Green Valley, C102, Chair Micah Guilfoyle-Payne, no other committee members. Glasgow Middle School, D102, Chair Brenda Winlock, no other committee members. Glasgow High School, D103, Chair McLean Lessenberry, no other committee members. Red Cross, E104, Chair Jeff Strong, no other committee members. Cave City South, F102, Chair Beverly Ford, no other committee members. Thank you to all these great folks for stepping up to serve. So what now? The next step, and it starts tomorrow, Thursday, April 29th, is the county convention. A quick timeline overview is as follows. Nominations for the Executive Committee begins tomorrow, April 29th, and runs through May 10th. The actual county convention will be called to order via Zoom on May 8th, just like the precinct convention was done. Then, voting for the Executive Committee members will occur from May 15th to May 18th, and the results will be announced on May 21st. In addition to selecting the next Executive Committee at the county convention, the precinct committee members will also do 2 other things. First, these people will elect one person to serve on the Credentials Committee to attend the Congressional District Convention and the State Convention, both being held virtually. These elected individuals will work with the State Democratic Party office and staff to check that everyone at the next levels of the nominations and elections after the county convention meet the criteria for those offices, such as residency and party affiliation requirements. And second, the precinct committee members will elect an allotted number of delegates and alternates to attend the Congressional District Convention and the State Convention that will ultimately be part of the process of electing the new State Central Executive Committee for the Kentucky Democratic Party. We'll talk more about these things as their corresponding conventions get closer, as well as release the allocated delegate counts. So, who can serve on the Barron County Executive Committee? Any Democrat who lives in Barron County, is of legal voting age, and is a registered Democrat as of April 8th, 2021 can serve. But remember this key point. Only the previous elected precinct committee members can nominate people. You cannot nominate yourself to serve on the executive committee as you could do for the precinct committees, unless you are on one of the newly elected 9 precinct committees here in Barron County. So, if you want to serve on the executive committee and aren't on one of the precinct committees, you need to reach out to one of those people I previously listed that are on the committees and ask to be nominated. Note, they are not required to nominate you, even if you ask them. Also, any precinct committee member can nominate a person from anywhere in the county. They don't have to live in the precinct that the precinct committee member represents. Now let's talk for a few minutes on the guidelines for the executive committee and the impact on the nomination and voting process. All county executive committees must have a minimum of 10 members and a maximum of 20 members. In addition to this 10 to 20 members, there are 2 special types of memberships. If your county has a Democratic Women's Club or a chapter of the Kentucky Young Democrats, the chair of those 2 groups have an automatic seat on the county executive committee. So a fully maxed out executive committee could have 22 members. In addition to the total number of members, the executive committee must be evenly split on gender. So if you have a 10-person executive committee, then there must be 5 women and 5 men on that committee. In fact, that principle, in many ways, forces you to nominate at least 5 men and 5 women, as the minimum executive committee must be 10 people. Note, this does not apply to the 2 possible automatic seats mentioned earlier. Their gender does not matter in this requirement. Also, the executive committee needs to represent the demographics that make up your county. For example, Barron County is 90% white and 4% African American, according to the Census Bureau. So there should be at least 1 person of color on a 20-member executive committee. This applies to all major demographics in your county, so this should be kept in mind during the nomination process. So now, for a moment, I'm going to step aside from stating the basic facts about this process, and I want to share with you some opinions I have on the process. Please note that these are my personal opinions and do not represent the Barron County Democratic Party or the current executive committee or anyone but myself. But I am basing them on my observations from the past 4 years serving on the current Barron County Democratic Party Executive Committee. One opinion is, I don't think we should rush to max out the new executive committee at 20 members. There are 2 main reasons for this. The first reason, we currently have a 20-member committee. The party bylaws require a quorum of 40% of members at meetings. That means we currently need 8 members at any meeting to approve any business. Currently, we don't get even close to these 8 members at about 25% of the meetings. And as such, not much work gets done. We have too many people that simply don't even come to the meetings, let alone do any work outside of the meetings. And the second reason I don't think we should rush to max out the committee is that once the number of members on the executive committee is set in this reorganization cycle, the party bylaws state that we cannot reduce that number, and it is set for the next 4 years. So if we jump immediately to 20 members and it turns out that 8 or so aren't participating and are removed or step down, move away, etc., you must replace them. If the executive committee doesn't, then the state central executive committee will step in and appoint the replacement members to get you back up to the elected count. The current Barron County Executive Committee currently has at least 5 people who rarely attend or have not attended at all a single meeting in close to 2 years. But, and this is key to why my second reason not to max out the committee is the way I think it is that there is a mechanism in the bylaws which you can use to increase the number of committee members up to the 20 max. So if the newly formed executive committee only has 10 to 12 members at first, and we see that there are others who attend the meetings, truly participate in the party and our events, such as canvassing, phone banking, etc., and are truly becoming active, then we can add them to the committee. So in my opinion, I think it would be better to start smaller and grow the executive committee larger as participation increases. But again, this is just my personal opinion, but I am basing it on seeing the current executive committee operate for the past 4 years. Another opinion I have is that when it comes to nominating people to the new executive committee, I think it is absolutely crucial that the newly elected precinct committee members only nominate those for the new executive committee that have either a proven track record of being active in the party and Barron County, or that they absolutely know will be active in the party and will make that time commitment. If someone just wants to attend the monthly meetings and not do anything else to support the party, or just wants the recognition of being on the executive committee and that's all, then they shouldn't be nominated, let alone elected. But again, this is just my personal opinion. But now, let me turn back to the process. Once the executive committee is nominated, voted on, and elected, and the results made public on May 21st, the next step is that the newly elected Barron County Democratic Party Executive Committee is to meet. Their one goal at this point is to elect a chair and a vice chair for the newly elected Executive Committee. If you are interested in what duties the chair and vice chair are, I encourage you to download a copy of the KDP bylaws from the KDP website at www.kydemocrats.org from the Resources section. Read Article 5, particularly Section A, for this information, as well as Article 7, particularly Sections B and C, as the duties of these positions at the county and state levels are parallel. As a side note, I would encourage anyone who has any inclination to serve on the County Executive Committee to download a copy of the bylaws and become familiar with them, as they will govern what you can do and how it can be done for the next 4 years as a committee. The timeline for the election of the new chair and vice chair is as follows. From May 23rd to May 24th, nominations will be taken for the positions of chair and vice chair of the Executive Committee. Only members of the newly elected Executive Committee may make nominations for these positions, and only members of the newly elected committee can be nominated for these two positions, and only members of the newly elected Executive Committee will vote for these two positions. Also, the chair and vice chair must be of opposite gender. On May 25th, those nominated will be notified. At this point, it is up to the newly elected County Executive Committee to set up a meeting to hold the actual election for the chair and vice chair. This meeting must be done after May 25th, but before June 4th. The meeting must be virtual and must have a phone call-in option. More details on this will come from the newly elected Barron County Executive Committee. While the details have not been worked out yet, and we will get the info out to you as soon as possible, hopefully early next week, there will be the availability of those running for the offices of chair and vice chair to address the executive committee prior to the election and make their case for being elected to those positions. Once the new chair and vice chair are elected, then the new chair has 30 days to appoint a secretary and a treasurer. These are appointed positions and serve at the pleasure of the chair. They do not need a vote from the executive committee to serve or be removed. However, they are ex officio. They are not voting members of the executive committee, unless they were also elected to the new executive committee in the just completed election. From that point on, the new county executive committee moves forward with the plan and agenda they set in accordance with the bylaws. Wow, that was a lot. I appreciate your time and dedication to help make this process meaningful and valuable, and to your commitment to building a strong and dedicated Democratic Party here in Kentucky, from the precinct level all the way up to the State Central Executive Committee. If you have any questions, please reach out to us at the Barron County Democratic Party by calling us at 270-883-1837 or emailing us at info@barroncounty.democrat. Let me end with a quote from former President Obama. Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. So get out there and participate and make a difference and make a change. Thank you all and have a great evening.